All right, everyone, get ready for another deep dive. This time, we're tackling drilling engineering. We're going to help you absolutely crush that upcoming interview.
We're going way beyond just, the basics.
Yeah, no steel-toed boots required here.
We'll break down what a drilling engineer actually does day to day, and then we'll dive into some of those tough interview questions and how to approach them. And of course, we'll see how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a serious edge.
It's like having a secret weapon, right?
Exactly.
So we've got some great resources from RoleCatcher to guide us today. Their career guide, their interview guide, which has a ton of potential questions, and some information on their AI platform, which honestly sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff.
It's pretty impressive. One of the things that's so interesting about this field is the variety. I mean, the challenges a drilling engineer faces. You've got technical expertise, problem solving on the fly, and leadership, often in some really intense environments.
Yeah. It's like, picture this. You're on a grilling platform, miles offshore, waves crashing, wind howling, and you're responsible not just for extracting resources, but for everyone's safety.
It's high stakes, and that's just one scenario. The career guide talks about how drilling engineers might work on land, offshore, or even in remote desert locations. Each one's got its own unique challenges, right?
Totally. And you've got to have a very specific set of skills and knowledge to handle each of them.
And don't forget the teamwork aspect. I mean, this is not a solo job.
Right.
You're collaborating with geologists, with reservoir engineers, a whole team of specialists. You're planning, executing, and monitoring every step of that drilling process.
So collaboration, huge, and probably comes up a lot in interviews, I would imagine.
Absolutely. You've got to be able to show that you can communicate clearly, delegate tasks effectively, and, even resolve conflicts, especially when things get stressful.
And that's where I think RoleCatcher's AI can really help, right? Because it's not just giving generic advice.
Right.
It's actually analyzing the specific job description, the one you're going for, and then tailoring your prep so it's personalized.
Yeah. It's like having a personalized coach in your corner. The AI helps you pinpoint those key skills, the key words that the employer is looking for, and then gives you feedback to make sure you're hitting all the right points.
So it's a secret weapon to stand out from everyone else.
You got it. So why don't we jump into some of those interview questions from RoleCatcher's Guide?
Okay, let's do it. First up, what inspired you to become a drilling engineer? It seems like a pretty basic get-to-know-you type question, but there's got to be more to it than that.
Oh, there definitely is. It's your chance to show off your passion for this field and connect it back to your own experiences, your motivations, what makes you tick.
So I can't just say, oh, I've always been interested in oil and gas.
Right. No, not quite. You want to dig a little deeper? Tell a story. Was there a book that sparked your fascination with geology? Or a documentary about offshore drilling that just blew your mind? Maybe you just love tinkering with machines and figuring out how things work.
I get it. A personal story makes it more memorable and shows genuine enthusiasm, right?
Exactly. Plus, it's showcasing those communication skills, which the career guide highlights as essential. You're not just giving facts, you're selling yourself as someone who's passionate and engaging.
Okay, I'm ready to tell my drilling story. But what if my background isn't directly related? Like, what if I worked in construction or, environmental science? Can I still make it relevant?
Totally. Think about the transferable skills you've picked up along the way. Did you manage any complex projects? Work in challenging environments, collaborate with different teams, all that stuff's gold.
I see. So I can tie those experiences back to the core values of a drilling engineer, like problem solving, adaptability, teamwork, all that good stuff.
Precisely. And remember, the career guide talks about the rewards of the job, the travel opportunities, the challenging work, the, high earning potential. Connect your motivations to those too.
Okay. I'm thinking they're not going to stop there, though. What about follow-up questions?
Oh yeah, be ready for those. They might ask you to give a specific example of a time you faced a challenge on a project and how you handled it, or how you work under pressure.
So they're not just interested in my inspiration, they want to see if my actions back up my words.
Exactly. This is where having concrete examples ready to go is crucial. You know that STAR method: situation, task, action, result. That's your framework for answering these types of questions.
Taking notes. All right, let's move on to question number 2. Describe your experience with well design and planning. Now, this one sounds a little more technical.
It is, and it's your chance to show off your technical knowledge, your ability to apply those principles in the real world.
So it's not enough to just say, yeah, I understand well design.
Nope. They want to hear about specific projects you've worked on, the software you've used, the challenges you faced, and the solutions you came up with.
This is where RoleCatcher's AI could really shine, I bet. Analyzing the job description, suggesting specific software or techniques I should mention.
For sure. Let's say the company specializes in offshore drilling. RoleCatcher might suggest you talk about your experience with riser analysis software or subsea wellhead design, stuff that's super relevant.
Okay, that's super helpful. And what about follow-ups for this one? What should I expect?
Be ready for anything. They could ask you to walk them through the steps of designing a well for a specific type of rock formation, or how you'd approach a design challenge in like a high-pressure, high-temperature environment.
Those sound intense.
They are, but it's also your opportunity to really show off your critical thinking skills and your ability to apply what you know to solve real problems.
And again, having those examples ready, really important.
Absolutely. Now, question number 3. How do you ensure drilling operations are carried out safely and efficiently? A bit of a double whammy here.
Yeah, looking for leadership and problem solving. All in one, right?
You got it. This is where you showcase your knowledge of safety regulations, risk assessment, and mitigation strategies.
Okay, so should I be prepared to talk about specific safety protocols? Stuff I've implemented on past projects, how I've made sure everything's up to industry standards?
Exactly. The career guide really stresses the importance of safety, training, and certifications, so definitely mention those if you have them.
I'm thinking about things like, well, control procedures, hazard identification, emergency response plans.
All crucial stuff. And don't forget about the efficiency part. They want to know how you can optimize operations while still keeping everything safe.
I can talk about, drilling optimization techniques, using real-time data, making adjustments to improve performance.
Excellent. And, again, be ready for those follow-up questions. Describe a time you had to make a tough call, balancing safety and efficiency. Or, how would you handle a safety violation on a drilling site? That kind of thing.
Wow. These questions are really getting me pumped. And I'm really seeing how RoleCatcher's AI could make all the difference, analyzing my answers, suggesting ways to present myself in the best possible light.
That's exactly what it's there for. Remember, it's not just what you know, it's how you communicate it. RoleCatcher can help you get that message across clearly and confidently. So we were talking about safety and efficiency and making sure things run smoothly, but, things don't always go according to plan.
Right, especially when you're dealing with Mother Nature and all those, crazy, complicated machines.
Exactly. So that brings us to the next question in RoleCatcher's interview guide. How do you deal with unexpected challenges during drilling operations? This is where they really want to see how you think on your feet, your problem-solving skills under pressure.
Essential skills in this field.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So you want to be prepared for anything. Think about equipment failures, harsh weather conditions shutting down operations. Maybe you hit some unexpected geological formation, things that can really throw a wrench in your plans.
Got it. So it's not just about the technical know-how, it's also about resourcefulness, being resilient when things get tough.
Exactly. Think about a time when a project went sideways. What did you do? Did you have to get creative, come up with a solution on the spot? Did you lead your team through it? Did you keep everyone informed, stakeholders, and all that?
I'm seeing that STAR method coming in handy again.
Right.
Situation, task, action, result. Really got to paint that picture for the interviewer.
Right. Show them what happened, how you tackled it, what you did, and the positive outcome you achieved. That's what they want to see.
Got it. Okay. So let's say you're drilling, and boom, the drill bit breaks way down there, deep underground. That's a big problem, right? Cost overruns, safety concerns, all of that. How would you handle that?
Walk me through it.
Well, first thing, assess the situation right. Gather data from the sensors, talk to my team, figure out what's really going on, how bad is it. Then got to come up with a plan to get that broken bit out and replace it. And all of that has to be done safely and efficiently.
Now, this is where you showcase your problem-solving process. Did you have to think outside the box? Did you consult industry best practices? Were there other options you considered? How did you arrive at the best course of action?
Right. And keeping everyone in the loop, big time. Making sure the team doesn't panic, keeping the stakeholders informed, and explaining the plan clearly and calmly.
Absolutely. This question is really about showing off your leadership skills and your ability to stay cool under pressure. Big bonus points for that.
Okay, so moving on. The next one from RoleCatcher's interview guide is, how do you ensure compliance with regulatory requirements and environmental regulations? I feel like this is a big one these days, with all the focus on responsible drilling.
It's huge. The oil and gas industry, They operate under tons of regulations. Safety, environmental protection, responsible resource management, all of that. You got to show these stuff inside and out that you're committed to compliance.
Okay, so more than just saying, I'm familiar with OSHA regulations.
Yeah, you got to go deeper. Which regulations are most relevant to drilling operations? What are the latest changes and amendments? What about permits and approvals? Do you know which ones are needed for different drilling projects? Show them, your stuff.
Right. I need to show that I understand that whole regulatory landscape
Yeah.
and how it affects what we do every day.
And here's the thing. The career guide talks about how important it is to keep learning in this field. Regulations change all the time. New tech comes out. Best practices evolve. It never stops.
Okay, so maybe I can mention how I stay up to date. Specific publications I read, conferences I go to, or even professional organizations I'm a member of that focus on compliance.
Perfect. That shows you're proactive, you're staying ahead of the curve. That's valuable in any job, but especially in a field like this. Always changing, always moving.
I think having a concrete example ready to go is really helpful here, too. Maybe I can talk about a time when I saw a potential environmental risk at a drilling site, and then I took the initiative to put a new safety protocol in place.
That's a perfect example. It shows you know the rules, you care about the environment, and you're willing to take action.
I can also see how RoleCatcher's AI feedback would be really helpful, making sure I'm highlighting the most relevant regs and maybe suggesting ways to really show off my knowledge of those compliance procedures.
Exactly. It's all about painting that picture, showing them you're not just knowledgeable, but that you're applying that knowledge.
Okay, now for a question that's a little bit techy, but also a little bit financial. How do you manage project budgets and timelines? Got to keep those projects on track, right?
Right on. Drilling is a big investment, so they want to know you can handle the money part of it too. Can you balance those technical goals with the financial reality?
This is where the project manager in me comes out.
Yeah.
Got to stay organized, got to stay on budget.
Exactly. And the career guide mentions developing and managing budgets and timelines. That's a core function of this role. They want to see that you can design the well and bring it in on time and within budget.
Okay, so they're looking for experience with things like cost estimation, keeping track of expenses, creating realistic timelines, stuff like that. Maybe mention some of the tools and techniques I've used, like Gantt charts or critical path analysis.
Absolutely. And get specific. What project management software have you used? Have you found ways to save money on projects? Have you ever negotiated with vendors to get better rates? All of that is relevant.
Right. And I can talk about my approach to managing teams, setting priorities, keeping everyone informed. That's all part of staying on budget and on schedule.
Absolutely. Drilling projects have a lot of moving parts, different teams, stakeholders, all that. So showing that you can coordinate, delegate, and communicate clearly, essential.
And I bet a concrete example would be helpful here too. Maybe a time when I delivered a project under budget or ahead of schedule, even though there were, some hiccups along the way.
Love it. It shows you can handle the unexpected and still deliver results. And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you quantify those achievements, suggest metrics to include.
Right. So instead of just saying, I deliver the project under budget, I could say, I reduced costs by 15%, thanks to, some strategic resource allocation and some tough negotiations with vendors.
Exactly. Give them those numbers. It shows the impact you made.
Okay. Now for a question that's all about the future. How do you incorporate new technologies and innovations in drilling operations? This is where we can really geek out on all the amazing advancements that are transforming the industry.
Right. This is where your passion shines through. This industry is constantly changing, so you got to show that you're keeping up, you're excited to learn new things.
So it's not enough to just, be aware of these new technologies. I need to show how I've actually learned about them, adapted to them, put them to work.
Absolutely. Have you used automation software? Data analytics? Robotics.ai? What about those?
Okay, if I've got experience with those, this is my chance to really share those examples and talk about the results.
But even if you haven't had hands-on experience, you can still show that you're eager to learn. Have you been to any webinars on new tech? Are you following any industry leaders who are doing really innovative things?
That's a good point. It's about showing enthusiasm, that I'm willing to embrace new ideas and new ways of doing things.
And here's a tip. Connect your answer back to what the company's trying to do. Check out their website, their reports, their press releases. What are their goals? What tech are they investing in?
I see. So I can tailor my answer to show them that I'm not just knowledgeable about tech, but that I can actually help them reach their goals.
Exactly. And imagine how helpful RoleCatcher's AI could be here. It can analyze the company, figure out their focus, and then suggest innovations to mention in your answer. It's like having a personal research assistant.
Wow, that would be awesome. It's all about showing them I'm the ideal candidate, someone who's not just skilled, but also, future focused, ready to embrace the changes that are coming.
Exactly. Now, how about this one? How do you ensure effective communication and collaboration among different teams and stakeholders? Might seem basic, but communication is so important in this kind of work.
Makes sense. You've got geologists, engineers, technicians, environmental specialists,
Yeah.
management, so many people involved. Keeping everyone on the same page, that's got to be tough.
Right. They want to know that you understand how important it is to communicate clearly, to listen actively, to build those relationships across teams.
So not just saying I'm a good communicator, got to give them examples, real situations where I made collaboration happen.
Precisely. Think about times where you had to, bridge communication gaps, resolve conflicts, get people to agree on a plan. Those are the stories they want to hear.
Okay, I can do that. Maybe I can talk about a time when I put a new communication system in place that streamlined information flow between the drilling team and the engineering department, made things more efficient, fewer misunderstandings.
That's a good one. Or maybe a time when you helped two team members work through a conflict, get them back on track.
I see. It's not just about answering the question. It's about showing my leadership style, my ability to be a team player.
Absolutely. And don't forget about adapting your communication style. Can you explain complex tech stuff to people who aren't engineers? Can you connect with people from different backgrounds, different cultures? That's important too.
Right. And I bet RoleCatcher's AI feedback could be helpful here too, suggesting ways to highlight specific skills like active listening, conflict resolution, all that good stuff.
Yep. It's all about presenting yourself as a skilled communicator, someone who can build a positive, productive environment. Now, before we move on, let's talk about something we mentioned earlier, RoleCatcher's AI-powered CV builder.
Yeah, that sounded really cool.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the AI helping with interview answers, but I'm curious about the CV part.
It's amazing. It's like having your own personal brand strategist, helping you present your skills and experience in the best possible way.
Okay, I'm hooked. Tell me more.
So it all starts with the job description. The AI analyzes the specific role you're after and picks out those keywords, those skills that are most important to the employer.
So it's doing the research for me, basically.
Exactly. It's like having a recruiter in your corner, making sure your CV is optimized for each job.
That's so smart. I'm always struggling to make my resume stand out.
That's where the AI comes in. It suggests improvements, tells you where you can use stronger language, add relevant skills, or really show off your accomplishments.
So instead of just listing my responsibilities,
Yeah.
I can give specific examples of how I use those skills to get real results. Like, instead of managed drilling operations, I could say, successfully managed a $10 million drilling project, completed ahead of schedule and under budget.
You got it. Those are the things that grab attention. And RoleCatcher helps you pinpoint those key moments in your career and present them effectively.
Wow, that's like having a personal editor, but for your career.
And the cool thing is RoleCatcher doesn't just tell you what to change, it explains why those changes matter. So you're not just following instructions, you're actually learning how to present yourself more effectively.
So I'm becoming a better job applicant overall.
Exactly. And don't forget, they have a huge database of employers, career guides, all sorts of resources that can help you with your job search.
It's like a one-stop shop for your whole career.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to mention one more incredible tool that can really give you an advantage. RoleCatcher's AI-powered video practice.
Oh, yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah.
We talked about how it gives feedback on written answers, but video practice, that's next level.
Right. It's like having a virtual interview coach right there with you, because it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Your body language, your tone of voice, your overall presence, it all matters.
I'm ready for my close-up. How does it work?
Super easy. You just pick a question from their huge library of interview prompts, record yourself answering it, and then let the AI do its thing.
So it's analyzing the video, telling me if I'm fidgeting too much or if my voice is too flat.
Exactly. It picks up on those subtle cues that we often miss. Maybe you're not making enough eye contact. The AI will tell you and give you tips on how to improve.
That's amazing. Like a magic mirror, but for job interviews.
And you can practice as many times as you want, refine your answers, really build your confidence.
This is game-changing. It's like having a secret weapon for not just the content of your answers, but also how you present yourself.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being someone you're not. It's about showcasing the best version of yourself. Confident, articulate, ready to impress.
I'm feeling ready to conquer that interview.
Okay.
Last question from RoleCatcher's interview guide. Now, it's a good one to end on. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and best practices? This is where my passion for the field really comes out.
Right. It's about showing that you're committed to continuous learning, that you're dedicated to staying ahead of the curve in an industry that's always changing.
Okay, so I can't just say, I read industry magazines or I go to conferences. Got to be more specific.
Exactly. What publications do you read? Which conferences have really stuck with you? Have you taken any courses, earned any certifications that have broadened your knowledge? Be specific.
Okay, I can do that. Maybe I can mention a recent article that really fascinated me, or a keynote speaker who changed the way I think about, wellbore stability or something like that.
Perfect. And don't just summarize the information, connect it back to your work. How has what you've learned changed how you approach drilling? Have you tried any new techniques or strategies based on what you've learned?
Maybe I could talk about a time when I gave a presentation to my colleagues about a new safety protocol I learned at a conference. Or, maybe I'm working on a certification in well control right now, something like that.
Love it. Those are great examples. It shows that you're not just learning stuff, but that you're actually putting it to use. You're helping the industry move forward.
And again, RoleCatcher's AI could really help me here, right? Suggesting industry trends, conferences, publications to mention, and making sure I'm connecting my learning to the company's goals.
Exactly. It's all about showing them that you're a lifelong learner, someone who's passionate about this industry and is committed to staying at the forefront. So we've covered a lot of ground, talking about all these different interview questions and how RoleCatcher can really help you prepare. But there's one more question from their guide that we haven't touched on yet, and it's a good one.
Okay, lay it on me.
It's all about staying ahead of the game, keeping up with the latest and greatest in the industry. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and best practices? They want to know you're not just competent, but that you're really passionate about learning and growing.
I can see our listeners right now thinking, easy, I read journals, I go to conferences.
But you're looking for a little more, right?
Yeah, anyone can say that.
Yeah.
What they really want to see is how you go out and find that knowledge, and then, more importantly, how you apply it to your work, how you make a real difference.
Got it. So instead of just listing sources, I should talk about what I learned and how it changed the way I approached drilling. For example, maybe I went to a conference and saw a presentation on some new wellbore imaging technique. Could I talk about how I used that to improve a project?
Now you're talking.
Right.
That shows you're not just sitting there listening, you're actively trying to improve things, push the boundaries a little bit.
I could also mention specific certifications I'm working on, like well control or even project management, if that's relevant to the job. Absolutely. Certifications show you're serious about professional development. You're investing in yourself, becoming a more valuable asset to the company.
It's all about showing them that I'm not just keeping up, I'm trying to be a leader.
Right. And RoleCatcher's AI can help you fine-tune that answer too. Suggest specific trends, conferences, publications that you could mention, and make sure you're connecting your learning back to what the company's trying to do.
So I can show them my knowledge aligns with their specific goals and challenges.
Exactly. It's all about showing them you're the right fit, not just for the role, but for the company culture.
Wow, this has been a really great deep dive. We've gone through so much, and I feel like anyone listening is going to walk into that interview feeling so much more confident and prepared.
I hope so. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
Totally. But before we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with one final thought to consider.
Oh, I like this. Let's go beyond just getting the job. Think about the bigger picture.
Exactly. So picture this. You nailed the interview, you got the offer, and you're standing there on a drilling rig, sun setting, you're surrounded by a great team. What's that feeling like? What makes it all worth it?
That's such a powerful image. It's a reminder that the interview is just one step in your journey.
And RoleCatcher can help you every step of the way, from building that standout CV to acing the interview and ultimately landing that amazing drilling engineering job.
Go get 'em. We're rooting for you.